Hello? Well then. Wow, so much light. Incredible. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the second day of the CELTIC event in 2019 in Valencia. And I'm very happy to have you here with us. The first part of the agenda is a presentation on how to prepare a CELTIC Plus proposal. So the idea of this is to put hands-on experience and to learn how a CELTIC proposal is worked out. Before I really start, there is an announcement that we will have our CELTIC Next call in October, on October 14th. Please note the date, and I hope we will receive very interesting and very good proposals that will go through the evaluation and the funding process without problems. So CELTIC Next, as you might know, is already the third CELTIC cluster. We started in 2003 with the CELTIC Initiative. In 2011, we started with CELTIC Plus. And this year, in January, we started CELTIC Next. In these 18 years, there were more than €1 billion invested in CELTIC. We have more than 150 projects, and we think that we are very successful in creating business. We have created 1,045 new projects, and so far we have, I must say this is since 2011, we have 16 startup creators. There are more than 1,000 PhD and master theses that have been done in this time. And we have 900 private and public organizations. These are large industry players, small and medium-sized enterprises, and academic research institutions. The participation of SME has continuously increased during these 16 years, and it is now above 40%. It's even close to 50%. And even budget-wise, normally the budget of SME partners is smaller than from industry. Even budget-wise, we are reaching 40% of the project in the latest years. So most projects are bottom-up, so you are defining your project ideas, and then CELTIC will evaluate it. But we have also these large flagship projects. Flagship projects are priority subjects from some of the member countries. The last flagship project was from France, Germany, Finland, and Sweden. And they decide to have a flagship project, and then the consortium is built more on a top-down way. We are very proud that in 5 years we have had 4 CELTIC projects winning a Eureka Award. The first one was HyperMed in 2014. This was on e-health and high-performance telemedicine platform. The second was for the year 2015-2016. It was a project on connectivity over the copper loop. So it was some sort of successor of ADSL technology, but this time reaching 1 gigabit per second. Then we have the NOTS project. It won the Eureka Award last year in Helsinki. This is on customer satisfaction and how to guarantee video quality over the top multimedia access. And this year, the Sigmona project, it was one of the first projects active in SDN, software-defined networks. this year, this project won the Eureka Global Project of the Year award. And this was also a very good achievement. So in 5 years, we have had 4 Eureka Awards. So last year, when the CELTIC core group decided to go for a prolongation of CELTIC, the first thing was, of course, to put a vision statement, what CELTIC will do in the next 8 years on the table. This has been done in form of this white paper. And so that summarizes 16 years of successes, but it also gives an outlook on what CELTIC wants to do in these 8 years to come. The second document that was realized also at this time was the CELTIC Next Scope and Research Area document. This gives the domains where CELTIC wants to be active in the coming 8 years. And you see the main topics are, I don't know, here is networking, service and applications, future service enablers, future internet and clouds, and future usage areas and multidisciplinary approach. And you see each of these, for example, B is then all these topics that are eligible CELTIC next subjects. So if you want to go to have a CELTIC project on a bottom-up manner, you should have a look in this scope and research area document and identify which are the keywords that are matching with your proposal. So this is about the organization of CELTIC. On the very top, you have the national authorities who will give the money, the public side of the money. And then we have also all this industry. These are the CELTIC core group members. At the moment, we have 18. So we have operators, Turkcell, Deutsche Telekom, Turk Telecom, British Telecom, let's see, Orange, Telefonica, I think it's also Telenor. Yes, so these are the operators. Then we have suppliers. This is Ericsson, this is Nokia, this is Italtel. And then there are some other companies like RAD and like Netas who are also in the core group. And recently we have also, Bosch has joined. Bosch is very interesting because it was one of the goals of CELTIC Next to have more relationship with vertical sectors. So Bosch is very good for this. And another core group company joined recently, it is Atwa, that had been also active in CELTIC already for some time. There's only one core group member that is not industry. This is IMEC. This is a research center from Belgium. Then you see here is the chairperson. This is Valerie Blavet. Maybe you can raise your hand, Valerie. Valerie has taken over the chairmanship of CELTIC at the beginning of the year, and before it has been Jacques Margin, who, well, everything has an end sometimes, so since January it is now Valerie Blavet from Orange. And we have two vice chairs. We have, sorry, it was the wrong button. We have Yari Lemonsvuri from Nokia, who is not here today, but we have Riza Durukasugil from Netas. Maybe you can also raise your hand, Riza. Thank you. So this is the CELTIC management team, those three persons together with the CELTIC office director, which is myself. And then we have, of course, all these services and administrative help that we have also. So now we are really coming in the practical part of the thing. So speed in research is in principle everything. So from the CELTIC side, we took an engagement that 6 months after you submit, 6 weeks, sorry, 6 weeks after you submitted your proposal to CELTIC, we will have done the evaluation by the industry experts, and we will have done also the evaluation together with the public authorities and the core group, and we will have communicated the CELTIC label decision to you. Not more than 6 weeks, I can guarantee this. The steps to come here is the proposal submission, the evaluation, label decision, and of course then the communication of the results to the submitters. What is quite important is that you should not wait for the label to contact the public authorities. Please contact the public authorities very early, even before submitting the CELTIC proposal, because usually the public authorities will give you very valuable information on how to build up your proposal. And if you have already filed your proposal, then you will not be able to modify it according to these information that they might give you. So please contact the public authorities very early. So this is the tool where you will submit your project proposal. So you have to register. You decide your username and your password. Then you go to submit a proposal. You fill in the form and you upload the CPP file. The CPP file is a Word document where you are describing your proposal. And then you submit, and it's done. It's very fast, not very complicated. Of course, you need first to have all the information on the budget and the effort for all the partners and all this information. So step 2 is proposal evaluation. Here, as I said already, we have mostly industry experts. So these experts know about the market, which is very important. I think this is one of the reasons why CELTIC projects are so successful implementing business after the project lifetime. The evaluation criteria are excellence and technological innovation, strategic relevance and impact, potential for exploitation of the results, so again, exploitation, and future of businesses, quality and efficiency of the implementation of the project proposals, and quality of the consortium. So a typical outcome of this evaluation of the group of experts, you see here, proposal 1, it was not good. The 3 experts said we don't want to fund it, and then it is not suitable for labeling. And then proposal 2, it's medium. The experts are saying, well, we need some modification, and then you will get mostly 6 weeks time after the labeling to implement the modification, and after the 6 weeks you will get a full CELTIC label. And proposal 3 and proposal 4, here the majority of the experts were saying that this proposal is suitable for labeling, then you will get the full CELTIC label immediately. But it's not only the group of experts who are doing the evaluation, it is also the public authorities. So the public authorities, the interface is a little bit different. They can say, okay, good for funding. They can say average chance for funding, low chances for funding, or no chances for funding. And sometimes when they did not look at the proposal, then they are saying no decision yet. So here we have some examples. So this is also a very important impact for the label decision. The core group is doing something similar. And then we will have the labeling meeting, and at the labeling meeting, we will have the public authorities in the room. We will have the CELTIC core group, CELTIC core group representatives in the room, and we will have the group of experts evaluation results. So the group of experts will not be physically in the room. And then it will be decided which of the project proposals are receiving the CELTIC label and which will not. So it's a consensual decision, the projects that will receive the label and the projects that will not receive the label. So the business relevance and national priorities can also be important in complementary to the quality of the proposal. So also the probability that there is really business impact will be an important criterion for the evaluation, for the granting of the CELTIC label. Okay, and the last point is, of course, to communicate the label decision to the proposers after 6 weeks after the submission. And then you have to go to your ministries and to see what is the formality to do to get the money from the ministry. This, unfortunately, is not as fast. The fastest projects to start is 6 months after the labeling, but sometimes it's taking longer, unfortunately. Sometimes it's also taking longer because the proposals are too slow to submit. I must say, this can also happen. It's not always the fault of the public authorities. In the last years, the success rate was above 50%. And when a partner becomes active in a running CELTIC project, so the coordinator has to set the partner to active, then he will pay 1,500 euros per person year. There is another possibility to join a CELTIC project. You can go on our website and have a look which are the projects that are currently in the setup phase. Setup phase means that they are currently negotiating the funding with the ministries. And if you think there is a project that is very well matching your interests, you can contact the coordinator and you can ask the coordinator whether your company, your organization would be welcome by the other consortium partners to join this project. This happens quite a lot, actually. So you can, sometimes it's possible that you join a project that has already the label. Of course, you should then very rapidly also contact your public authorities and to see if they have the same opinion than you, and if they are agreeing to fund your participation in this project. Then the formalism would be that the project coordinator sends a project change request to the CELTIC office, and the CELTIC office will, if it makes sense, approve this project change request, and then the CELTIC next label is extended to the new entering partners. This is a typically timeline of a CELTIC project. So you start with the ideas, you put the proposal in the CELTIC tools, then there is evaluation, then we have the CELTIC next label. Then you have to organize your negotiation with the public authorities. What I did not say during this time, when you're in negotiation with your public authorities, we will have monthly phone contacts, and the CELTIC office will do everything that we can do to help you to come out of this funding process with success. Then, once we have enough mandatory partners that have the funding and that can start to work, there will be the kick-off meeting, and then the project starts. And we from CELTIC, we think we should not interfere all the time with the work of the project. There are only 2 times where we are doing a review. There is the mid-term review and the final review. So we think that most of the project coordinators are very well capable to manage their project, and we don't want to add administrative hurdles. Okay, then there is a midterm review and the final review, but when the final review has taken place, it's not the end of the project and it's not the end of the interaction with CELTIC. We will then follow the project, and we will try to find out what is the impact of the project at the end of the project, 1 year after, 2 years after, 3 years after. So we will regularly ask you, what is the impact of your project? So during this 16 years, we have had different countries more active than others. So for the time being, France has been the most active with 40 projects, followed directly by Spain with 39, Turkey 32, Finland 29, Germany 26, Sweden 21. So this is a number of projects. Then you can have, oh, I did not show the budget slide. So here, France and Germany are the number ones. We have the opportunity to cooperate on a global scale. So it's not limited to Europe. We have quite a lot projects, at the moment 5 running projects with Korean partners. And we have also projects with Canadian partners, but this has not yet started yet. And in future, we want to find ways to cooperate with Japan. We think Japan is an economy that is quite close to the European economies. So we think probably this concept of government-funded transnational projects could be interesting for Japan, and we really would like to be able to establish the same cooperation that we have today with South Korea, also with Japan. So here is again the announcement of the call. Please note the date of the next CELTIC call. It's the 14th of October. And I think, no, I'm not yet at the end. This is the CELTIC newsletter. It's just brand new. It came out 10 days ago. And we have a contribution from our new CELTIC chair, from Valérie Blavet. We have a contribution on the closing event of our flagship project. The flagship project is this 70 million project that is ending in this year, and there was a closing event in the headquarters of Ericsson in March. Then we have contribution from the public authorities from UK. UK is, for the first time in the 16 years, has decided to found CELTIC project. So this is an important news for our community. So as from now, projects with partners from UK are eligible for funding by Innovate UK in the UK. And we have always success stories of different projects that will show their achievement in this CELTIC news. And here are our contact information, and this was the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. So now we are coming to the funding possibilities in CELTIC. And we have 2 public authorities today that are here. It is Joanna Sanchez from CDTI and Jana Shine from Vinnova. So on the next slide, I will give some basic information about Spain and then about Sweden. And then Joanna and later Jana will come up to the stage and present the funding scheme of their countries. Yeah. No. No, can you go out again? Well, I can also go through all of them. I wanted to go to a given slide. Yeah, thank you. So Spain, here we have Spain. Okay, thank you. I don't think you...
I think it's not showing there. This.
No, pero...
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joana Sanchez. I'm the national representative of CELTIC in Spain. And I'm going to try to give you an overview about how we work and principally what we expect from Spanish participants and from the one CELTIC project from our view, and what are the best advice that you should follow if you want to be funded by our center. I work for CDTI. It's the main innovation agency in Spain. We provide funding for R&D projects in Spain. Now we belong to the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Universities, but I have seen outside 3 different logos of CDTI because well, we belong to different ministries every time that the government of Spain changes. So you will see that Ministry of Economy or Industry, but now we belong to the Ministry of Science and Innovation and Universities. Okay, in Spain, the first thing you should know if you want to be funded by CDTI is that it's absolutely mandatory that Spanish participants are active in R&D activities. If you are not, if you only participate, for example, in activities on specification and requirements specification, or maybe dissemination or things like this, probably you won't be funded by our center. So if you want to be funded by us, it's very important that you know that you have to develop technology within the project. This doesn't mean that if you are a Spanish company, you can be funded by other agencies. So if you belong to the south, you can go to a regional organism that is called IDEA or any other. So this is completely compatible in CELTIC. But based on our experience, the most of the projects used to come to us, to CDTI. For you, we have special conditions for international cooperation and these kind of projects for CELTIC specifically, that where Spain is strongly committed. We have a call that is open all year, so you can present your projects, your submissions when you want. And a very good news is that in 3-4 months maximum, you will have an answer from us if you will be funded or not. So it's very important that you know in advance which are the conditions. And another thing is that you have seen from Peter that the public authorities are very active during the whole, the whole process. That means that when you present one proposal in CELTIC, we are going to check this proposal in advance that you present your submission in CDTI. That means that it's important that you contact us before the submission, because we can check if the proposal could have good guarantees to be funded by us. In addition, when you present one proposal in CELTIC, after that, we'll ask you to fill a template. This template is useful for us to check if the activities you are going to develop are able to be funded by us. And this is very important for us because in the meetings where we meet with the core group and the technical evaluation board, we can expose if these proposals can be supported by us or not. So this is very important for you to be labeled by CELTIC in one project. According to the eligibility criteria, a part of that, you have to show that you are going to develop technology. This is very important, don't forget that. You have to know that we have a minimum budget for you. So it's 175,000 euros. Less than that, you won't be funded by us. And it's important that you know that sometimes some of the activities you are going to develop within the project won't be funded. So sometimes your budget could be reduced. So take into account this, because it's not, I wouldn't advise you to present a project with a budget close to the minimum budget that we ask you to be eligible. So take this into account. A part of it is, if you are a technological center or a university, you can participate in one project like this, but you have to be subcontracted. The Spanish consortium must be led by one company. This company can be a large company, medium company, or a small company. It doesn't matter, but it has to be a company. And a part of this, think that we are changing our ministry, but the core CDTI is quite stable, so our evaluation rules are not going to change. So please contact us, even if you are preparing one proposal, or even if you are running one CELTIC project and you want to include new partners to your project, you can contact us, because we have a very nice community in Spain, and it's quite normal that we can find new partners for you for your projects. I think this is the most important points, but I will be around if you want to talk to me. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Sanja Schein and I'm here instead of Jessica Svennebring. I will tell you a few words about Sweden and possibilities in Sweden. So, as you can see on the slide, we have 59 active Swedish project partners in 10 running projects and a total budget by now of 27.9 million euros. But what is important for you as prospective project partners is that we are, as also Juana said, we are industry driven. So we have to have a minimum of 60% from industry, both small and middle enterprises and bigger industries. But we also have a low level of administration, which fits industry well. We consider CELTIC and EuRECA very important in our strategy for internationalization. We are also, as the whole CELTIC cluster, quite focused on bottom-up, so we will not tell you exactly what to do. It's on you to decide, and we decide on the whole wider area, what is the focus on, and that's considered a strength for us. We don't have a specific CELTIC budget, so this budget here is just the current situation, but the whole cluster budget is around 100 million Swedish crowns per year, and it's rising every year. That would be 10 million euros per year. I think the best part of Swedish Innovation Agency is that we are trying to be fast and take decisions in less than 3 months, which is considered very fast, of course, for a public authority. We don't have specific dates for calls, and we adapt to CELTIC deadlines, so we take them as they come. So we are also very flexible there. Typically, we have 2 to 14 participants, 3-4 countries, and the usual duration is 30 months, with the usual funding from 1.5 million to 5 million euros. And also we have, I guess, specific Swedish rules. that small and middle enterprises can get maximum 50% of funding, bigger industries 30%, and also, of course, universities, research institutes can participate, and they can also get 100% of funding, but they can be maximum 40% of the whole project because the industry has to be at least 60%. And our maximum funding is 50%. So I can wrap this up repeating the most important, that we are trying to be fast and take decisions in less than 3 months, which is very fast. So welcome and collaborate with Sweden. Thank you very much.
To other questions to Jana and to Joanna?
You are welcome to talk to me later. Send an email to me or to Jessica.
Okay, no questions at the moment? No. Okay, thank you. Warte, ich gehe so. So, of course, you can leave this presentation on, please.
This one?
Yes. How can I get out of this? I want to go to the beginning now of this presentation. Yeah. So, yes, in this presentation we don't only have Spain and Sweden, we have all the countries. The presentation will be available online afterwards, but the question now is, are there specific countries that you would like to look at? So, well, maybe I should say first that these slides are based on the 24 currently running CELTIC projects. And these 24 projects are bringing together 282 project partners. And there have been, this is also happening from time to time, 14 of these project partners have not been funded by public authorities. They are participating in the project self-funding. So this happens also from time to time. Okay, we could now go through all the countries. I think this would be maybe a little bit boring. Are there special interests of countries that you would like to see? Are there people from a given country that you would like to see? Or I can just go through the biggest one. UK, it will be at the end, yes? Good. Which other country? Which? Canada, we have not yet any participant from Canada. We have a project that is starting with a Canadian partner, but it's not in this statistic for the time being. Okay, let's go just to the biggest. Finland is one of the bigger. We have 7 active Finnish projects and 3 running projects with a total budget of 16 million euros. Then we have France, it's also quite big. We have 22 active French project partners in 4 running projects and a total budget of 22.7 million euros. Then we have Germany. We have 52 active German project partners in 6 running projects and a total budget of 38.4 million euros. In euros, this is the highest numbers. In number of participation, it is Sweden, the highest numbers. And in number of participation in projects, it's Spain, the highest number. Israel, it's active in 5 projects, normally only with 1 partner, and it's 7 million euros roughly. Luxembourg, 4 partners, 3 running project, 2.5 million. Poland, 10 active project participation in 4 running projects, 1.1 million. Portugal, 16 active Portuguese partners in 6 running projects, total budget 2.6 million. Korea, 8 participation in 4 running projects, total budget 4.6 million. Spain, we saw it already. Sweden, we saw it already. Turkey, 25 active Turkish project partners in 8 running projects, total budget 9.5 million. And United Kingdom, we have at the moment 2 project participation from British Telecom, self-funded, that value about 1 million, but it has not been funded so far from the UK government, from Innovate UK. But this is changing now. At the end of last year, Innovate UK has announced that they will fund this year CELTIC with £2 million. So from this year, you can get funding from Innovate UK, and I hope we will have a lot of proposals on the 14th of October where we will have partners from UK. There are some eligibility criteria from Innovate UK. You can have a look on our website. We published something about this in April. So if you are going on our news, just on the starting page of CELTIC, when you go a little bit below, there are all these news items. One of them is about the funding criteria of Innovate UK. Or you just call me. Or you call Mr. Jean-François Favaverde from Innovate UK, who is looking after CELTIC. And you find his name here on this slide, but you find his name also on the contact page of CELTIC, where we are presenting the public authority contacts. And what else? Then we have countries that are only small participations. It's Austria, Czech Republic, Hungary, Norway, and Romania. So these are less than 4 participants. So I have summarized these countries on this slide. South Korea and Canada we have already mentioned, and we would really like to have Japan. And I know there are Japanese people here in the room, and I hope we will find ways to get Japan also involved, a little bit like we are doing it with South Korea. So here's again the announcement of the autumn call. I think nobody will forget anymore that it's on the 14th of October. And this is how you can contact the CELTIC office or myself. Thank you very much. Now we are coming to the project pitches, and it's Christiane who will take over.
So hello, my name is Christiane Reinsch. I'm program coordinator within the CELTIC Next cluster. And now we start the project idea pitching session. We will have the following pitch presenters. Also, these presentations will be available on our CELTIC website. So if you would like to know the order that I will call you on, you can go on the website and see it in advance, and you can directly already come to the steps so that it might be faster to come up to the stage. So we will start with Ripianato from Frédéric Laurie. And overall, the presentations should not take longer than 7 minutes. So please take care to keep the timeline. So. Do you have a microphone?
Thank you, Christiane. And my name is Frédéric Loiret, and I'm a senior researcher in Stockholm, Sweden. And we don't have a logo for this project proposal yet called RepairNator, but I put this picture of Wall-E. It's like the star robot from the Pixar company. And I gave him a special power because he can, with a flashlight, automatically repair software bugs. And this is extremely important nowadays because, as you know, software is everywhere in our pockets, you know, with our mobile phones, in our cars, in planes, and it's also the case here when we see all the booths around like 5G technologies. And it costs a lot of money to develop those softwares, but it costs also a lot of money to maintain them and to correct bugs that might occur in the development process. So here is just a simple figure, 400 euros per bug in order to, on average, fix some even very simple bugs in complicated engineering environment, development environment. So our proposal is actually focused on using artificial intelligence to automatically fix a small percentage of bugs that are usually fixed by human developers. And of course, the benefits here are obvious when it comes to cost reduction and increase of productivity. The goal as well here is not to disturb at all the existing development flows in the company. So we want to plug our tools on the cloud beside the existing flows. And what we want to achieve is to correct those bugs in a faster way than humans would do. What is also very important for this proposal that I'm presenting is to have, we are really relying on open innovation, so everything that we will be developing will be open source. And we want to also foster the build-up of a community at European level around those themes of artificial intelligence for automatic bug repair. So just a couple of words from KTH, which is the biggest technical university in Sweden, where I work. And so the main technologies are actually developed within KTH, and in particular in a new software research center that I'm helping also to create in the Stockholm area called Castor. And in this software center, we have close cooperation with Ericsson and Saab in Sweden. So just to give a bit of an overview of the technologies we are working on. So here is just like the current state of practice in many current development environments. So you have the development teams committing on an extremely regular basis code in various code repositories, and automatically test suites are being executed on these code repositories in order to test the code and to potentially generate some reports to the development teams. And this involves a lot of manual work in order to correct the bugs that have been detected. And depending on your business, you might have like 100 builds per day or 1,000, and sometimes even more than that when it's really pure software applications. So what we are doing, we put RepairNator, we put this robot in the loop, in the continuous integration loop. And the idea is to automatically check the failed reports from the tests. And we apply some advanced technologies to try to automatically fix those bugs. And so how it works so far, we generate patches correcting those bugs, and we submit those patches to the development teams in order for them to review before committing the patches in the repository. But in the future, of course, we would like to automatically patch the code in the ideal world. So here is just a brief overview about the proposal. The technical outcomes is really to provide extensions of an existing framework that we are working on already quite extensively at KTH, but also in cooperation with Ericsson by Stockholm. And we want to extend with a broad spectrum of capabilities in the continuous integration loop. And the idea is to target TRL 6. So we really want to execute and try out our prototypes on real industrial data sets. We would like also potentially to develop a community, and we are planning to have a new Eclipse project in the Eclipse Foundation. And there are, of course, potential strong business interest behind the scenes for such technologies. And we would be targeting, as usual, projects time span of 3 years. So I put this slide, but it's extremely preliminary. So we have already strong interest in Sweden, in particular with Ericsson. And for the other countries, we are just initiating some conversation with some of those partners, but we are interested in targeting Spain and Canada. That's why I asked for Canada, because we would be also very interested in cooperating with Ericsson there. And we are mainly looking for large organizations who would be interested in applying their technologies in their development processes and data sets. So that's it from my side. Thanks for your attention, and you can contact me at kth.se. And then I put also the second URL is about the project we are working on. You can get more information about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frédéric. Please stay on stage. Maybe there are questions. So we have still time for at least 2 questions. So, yes, there is one question. Just one moment.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. For RepairNator, do you focus on some specific verticals, or do you cover every kind of software verticals, industrial?
So yeah, so far we are initiating this project with Ericsson in Sweden, working heavily on 5G related applications. But actually our project focus, it's really focused on code. It's code-based. So it can be applied in any kind of industry. And we are cooperating, starting to cooperate with Saab, for instance, in the defense industry. So it can be applied in many different application domains.
Thank you.
Okay. A second question.
Maybe more remarks than questions. You were saying you're targeting big industry. In most of the countries, it is a mandatory requirement to have also SMEs. So yeah, you need to contact for Sweden, Jana, and for Spain, Joanna, and to see in Canada, I'm sure Ericsson will not be funded without SMEs. I'm not even sure if Canada is funding big industries.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. That's why I was
to find out this. Yeah. I know definitely that they are funding small industry, but I'm not sure if they are funding big industry.
Yeah, to be followed up. Thanks.
Okay, one last question to you. Do you also plan to have a follow-up telco to invite potential interested people?
Yeah, so I provided already my availabilities in the form.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So as soon as we set it up, we will announce these follow-up telcos on our website. So you can search for it on Friday at the earliest. So
perfect.
Then
thanks.
Wish you good luck. The next proposal will be Oscar Cabrera. The proposal is called CleverNet. Is it also enabling 5G? Yeah.
So the proposal is enabling 5G. So the idea of the proposal is, you have been here, there is a lot of people talking about 5G and what it can be done. But we consider that there are 4 topics that need to be addressed, and also we are inviting other people to collaborate with us to define which other topics should be addressed. First of all, you know that 5G is mainly about performance and low latency, but the problem is at the end they will finish in a fixed line, and people will have also to connect using this fixed line. So we need to know how we can use optimizing TCP in order to provide the bandwidth needed for 5G. So otherwise, 5G will be very fast, but this fast speed will finish in the BTS. So also is the capacity about the efficient management of 5G lanes. The idea is this 5G is going to provide a different performance for different persons. But to do that, we need to do what we call action context awareness. That means that we need to understand which applications are connected. For example, if there is a real-time operation, that has to be a total priority. But if you are downloading a file, it is not probably needed that you use 5G. So probably we will need to provide you an alternative option, at least in the beginning, while 5G is not globally deployed. There is the fact about self-organization networks. So to be a successful deploy, we require to understand what is the context, but not also that, but also how it's going to be scalable, and also how it's going to be defined about the complexity of integrating all these parts. And also, one of the things we consider is that it will not be only the person, the people, but mainly the IoT devices that will have myriads of devices that will connect. And to do that, we need to have the power near the edge. And for that, 5G is going to be the right approach. But we will also need to validate how we will connect all these myriads of devices. And one of the key points is that 5G is not really a technology, it's a joint of technologies. 5G is going to integrate all the previous existing standards too. And why we should consider this project is going to be taken, because in Europe, we have been leading in the initial Gs, first generation, second generation, but we have lost some ground in terms of US and Japan for the 4G mainly, and we think that it's a great opportunity for Europe to become a 5G leader. So I'm going to present what we are doing currently in fixed communications and the support we can provide to 5G, and what we think we can already provide also to 5G. So if you see on the left, we are going to transfer a file. The first problem we have is unsecure. So when you came here, no one questioned which is the security, the network connection we are going to have, because we know that we are in a safe place, but we connect anywhere, in a hotel, in a restaurant. And also, it's slow. So we have, the problem is that when you have even a 1 gigabit transfer, you are getting just 6 to 8% of the traffic you are really paying for. So this is not a problem for the service provider. It's a problem of the TCP protocol. And this problem is going to be enlarged when you receive huge communication coming from the 5G. So what is our approach? You can see on the right. We are able to become the Google map of the network. We are able to understand and discover all the paths, characterize them, define which paths are available and which paths not. We eliminate the path that has a huge packet load rates or have a huge latency. We keep only the paths that are good. We are able to take the information, split between these paths. This allows us to increase the speed between 6 and 23 times. So we are putting here 6.5, but this is the average. If some line fails, we are able to redirect all the traffic through another line, and then at the end, we rejoin all the document, and this is totally transparent to the end user. So we consider this is something that will help to deploy the 5G, because 5G will arrive to the BTS with a lot of data, and we will need to provide support from the fixed part of the information of the network. So this is the 4 points I have mentioned before. So we have to work on fixed wireless access, of an efficient management of 5G lanes, on the self-organized networks, and in support of IoT. This is what I have already mentioned before. And this is the partners we are looking for. So as mentioned, we are going to provide expertise in networking. We have also expertise in fog computing and edge computing for the IoT. We have already started contacts with 2 service providers, 3 SMEs and 1 large company from 3 different countries. And what we are looking for, we would like to have at least 2 service providers in the project. So we consider it's nonsense to provide this project if we don't have the support of the service providers. We would like to have at least 2 IoT-related companies and at least 2 final users in order to validate the concept and the design. So what we are thinking about, we would like to try in agro, or we would like to try it in a smart city. So all these partners are invited. So, and currently the confirmed partners is mainly from Turkey and Spain. From Turkey we have CELTIC and EuCNC. So we truly would like you to review if you are interested in the project, and if you are, please contact us, and we will be more than glad to share with you the proposal and invite you to participate and give us your feedback and your expertise.
Are there, yeah, very interesting project pitch. So there's also a pitch presentation from Helsinki, I think from the University of Oulu. This is also where they also present intelligent edge of things. So there could be maybe a joint interest.
Yes, we can join them. There's no problem. In fact, we are an SME, so we will be more than glad not to be the project coordinator of the project.
Okay. So are there any additional questions to Oscar? Yes?
Thank you. So I was not thinking about this when you were saying when we are in the hotel, we should have 1 giga, and in fact we only have 50 mega, and the files are transferring extremely slowly. Do you think this will be worse when we will have 5G? So, okay, yes, if it will be worse indeed, which is logical, I see very well the usefulness of a project like this, yes.
Yes, the key problem here is the TCP protocol. It was defined to make the network scalable, but it was not defined. At that era, the problem was not the speed. So when you have 100 megabits on the network, you are still transmitting a TCP file at 60, 80 megabits per second. But when you increase the network speed is when you see this different. The only solution is to open simultaneously several TCP transmissions at the same time. And that is what we do with our multi-TCP approach.
Or will there be a successor from VLAN, from Wi-Fi?
Well, currently there are, the companies are considering either we move to MPLS solutions where they have to pay a huge amount of money, normally it's in the 2,000, 3,000 euros per month rate, or they can use our solution, which is going to be in the 100 euros area. So mainly for SMEs, it's a no-brain decision.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so please, Oscar, stay here. You will have the next presentation too.
Okay, so what I do now?
The next presentation will be about zero accident.
Okay, so I changed my helmet, and in this case, first I came in for CleverNet, now I came for Billings. I was not supposed to present this proposal. It was Emilio Mulet from Acuro, but he is not here, so he asked me to present it. So as we are interested in the project, I'm going to do it. Mainly the idea here is to guarantee that we get no accident at all. So the main idea is that when you are walking in a road, the cars need to understand if a person, a bicycle, or any vehicle that is moving slower is going to get into the lane without the authority to do so. Mainly the idea is if you have a red light, but you don't care. So we need to understand why people do that and to understand the performance. So the idea is to use a video image technology in order to define what people is going to behave, and also to compensate that information with existing IoT services that are already deployed in the smart cities. So the idea is that the car is going to detect people, but there will be some scenarios in which people will not be easily detected by the cars, mainly because there is another obstacle like another car, or maybe because the people is expected to be stopped, but they will not. So here you have a clear image. So you have, for example, the green, red for the cars, but there is one person here on the left that is crossing and he has a red light. So we need to understand why he is crossing. Maybe because there is no cars approaching, then it can be In Spain, we will say it's normal, but for example, in Germany, it will be forbidden. So it can be comprehensible, but for example, in this case, where you have multiple cars that can run this person, this is something that the system should advise. So as you can see, there is also a camera, so the camera will detect the person that is doing something wrong, and in this case, we'll have to advise all the cars to stop down or reduce their speed. That in order to avoid this person being overrun. Okay. So what we are looking for, we are still preparing the proposal, so we are really looking for everyone. So in fact, we are looking for an automotive manufacturer. Mainly the idea is we need someone to put a car in order for us to test. We need also telecom communication companies that are able to provide the signal to that car. We need mobile apps developers that are able to provide the application that we are going to do. We need also information IT experts that are able to provide the machine learning technology and visual reality technology that identify the people and their behavior. We need a smart city in order to test in a real scenario. And we need also companies related with vulnerable road users and behavior analysis in order for understanding really what they are doing. Because, for example, in my company, we understand artificial intelligence, but we don't know anything about people behavior. So we need someone to tell us what we have to look in a video. Okay, so you have also my contact data. If you need any further information, please just let me know.
So, is anyone having a question to Oscar regarding this proposal? Huh?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Just one question. You said you need a car company. I should add that you need some simulation software because you don't want to test with real pedestrians, right?
Well, a simulation will be great, but if we have the opportunity to do a real test, that will be great. If I don't know if you remember the image that was a person was driving a car, an autonomous car, and then they saw a person walking with a bicycle, and they overran it. Mainly it was because the system see person with a bicycle, minimum speed, 10 kilometers per hour, so I will pass. This person will pass and will go, no problem. But the person was walking with the bicycle, so speed 4 kilometers per hour, error. So we need to understand all the situations, and we need to provide a system that is able to self-learn by itself to avoid this situation. So obviously, in the initial stage, we will need to do it at very low speed in order for the system to understand what is happening, but we need to test in real situations. And to test it with that, we need a real car.
I say so because in our university we have a research center which is specialized in developing this kind of simulator for realistic scenarios for autonomous cars.
Then you are more than welcome to the project. Please send us your documentation and we will send you the draft of the project.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any additional question? No?
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oscar? Then the next presenter said he will send a replacement person to pitch this proposal idea. I don't know if a replacement for Dr. Faruk Sari is in the room. Ah, okay.
Hello, my name is Bayhan Sayıntı. I'm pitching the presentation instead of Dr. Faruk. He had to leave for an important meeting. The name of the project is Secure Shared Connected Car. In our project, we have two main functionalities, two main sub-modules. One of them is secure broadband IoT gateway specialized for the cars, and the other one is secure cloud-based key management systems. So in this project, we aim to combine these two together to provide a secure car key sharing management for whole connected cars. First part is about having a new gateway inside the cars to collect all car internal telemetry, analytics, location tracking, consumer-related data. To be able to upload this data or have connection with the cloud and the other systems, we want to develop the gateway, communication gateway, which has multiple GSM connections. Let's say you have 2 or 3 or 4 telecom operators, GSM operators in your country. You can have these multiple SIM cards inserted into your gateway. Then we'll use this to communicate car with the cloud applications or your own applications in your company. And in the other part, we'll establish this secure key exchange mechanisms to be able to use to unlock and lock the car systems. The main use case for this is think about your car. For example, I'm here today, I'm from Turkey, and consider that my car is a parking lot, and there's some emergency, and my neighbor needs to take that car and move somewhere else. With our application, I'll make this available with sharing some data in mobile app, and he will be able to unlock the car and use it and move it somewhere else. And this will be time limited. This can have broader range of use cases for rental cars, car sharing, carpooling places. Obviously, if you look at the keywords like car rental, carpooling, there is a huge potential to use this if you can be able to implement the idea effectively. Here are some numbers we have taken from some research, market research data. Sorry. CELTIC is one of the important technology company in Turkey, located in Istanbul and some office in Ankara, founded in 2005, currently employing around 150 engineers. It's keep growing steadily over the years, and one of the investors of the company is Turkish Aerospace Industries, especially interested in the SATCOM solutions in defense industry. So if we talk about the IoT gateway, we can give some more details about the key exchange, cloud-based key exchanging for cars. We have two ways. Oh, sorry. So this has two modules, two sections here. One of them is between car and smartphone and an application on it. And the other one is to allow this smart phone over the cloud. So we will authorize the user and then let this car to know that, and will enable unlocking the system based on this overall draft architecture. Yes, I'm sorry, I might have missed this because I'm just getting the project very soon. In this project, we want to ensure that connected cars are secure with shared applications. And also we use PKI to protect the integrity, performance, and manageability, and provides good opportunities, especially in these big market potentials of car sharing, car rentals, and carpooling. So currently we have two companies in the consortium. One of them is Comodev, and the other one is our company. And we are looking for ECU manufacturers, that's electric control units for the cars, some OEMs, and related automotive industry partners. Dr. Faruk Sarı is the primary contact, and he has all the details. Please feel free to contact him for more detailed questions. Or if you have something that I can try to answer now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a question that anyone is having? No? Yes? Okay.
Yes, I was just wondering when I saw this technology that you want to use for private car. Is this not something that is already existing for car sharing?
Personally, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I just learned this a few days ago. I don't know if it's taking place right now, using the mobile phones and the technologies on of it, like Bluetooth and NFC and related technologies.
I must say I never used car sharing, so maybe there are other people in this room who can better say if it's something similar, but yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the next presentation will be about dependable connectivity as a service, and the pitch will be presented by Dr. Kevin Navai from Lancaster University, UK. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Okay. So this is a project. This is based on a concept that I worked on for almost 1 year. My name is Kevin Navai. I'm a reader in Intelligent Cyber Physical System in Lancaster University. Okay. So I'm going to talk about something which is not new, but it gives you a sense of what we are going to do in this project. Look at the sat-nav. You use sat-nav for navigation and you move around. Sometimes you don't have connectivity to your operator, wireless operator. Sometimes you don't get proper signal from GPS satellites, but it usually works and it is dependable. So the key word here is dependability, and it's based on the fact that you can get the same information from different pathways. So you can get your location either from GPS signal, part of the location with a little bit less accuracy could be obtained using Wi-Fi signal. You can also, if you're lucky, you can take your information, location information from the cars moving around. And what happens in the navigation software, basically they put them together and give you a reliable service. So reliability in such an application, it's not just about reliability of or dependability of communication service. It comes from different facets like processing on board could be done in a Google server somewhere, which is a cloud computing kind of service, or it can be done on board of the car or on board of your phone. So we are in Lancaster University. We have there a computing and communication school, which is a unique combination of computing and communication in one place. And we have a multidisciplinary basically team. And a good thing is that we have a set of SMEs. Basically, they are at the same place as ours. They are located there, and we have a large number of academic staff and a large number of PhDs and postdoc. In my group, I have more than 10 PhDs and a couple of postdocs that are working on similar projects like this one. So the idea comes from the keywords I just mentioned. So dependability of the communication or dependability of exchange of information. So dependability, you know, age of information is important, so it should be timely. So you need that part of information now. And it should be reliable, so that part of information as it was transmitted, and it should be secure at the same time, because you need to basically rely on it, and you have to have basically a basic kind of security. So if we can provide this kind of information exchange to the users, basically this is a very good enabler for all you heard today, connected cars, for every tactile information, tactile connectivity you need, e-health, mass surveillance, you just name it. So the idea is the following. So imagine we can provide this as a service, okay? So you heard about basically everything as a service, and this is dependable connectivity as a service. And it means that, okay, you know, we as the developer of this project, or in a later stage as a product, we provide it to SMEs, for anybody with a good innovative idea. So it enables a kind of ecosystem, an innovation framework, and the idea would be that, okay, I, as the server there, which is somewhere in the cloud, I look at every single possibility to provide the information to that particular user, okay? And I orchestrate that. By that I mean, just drop this one. By that I mean, if you have a server there, as you can see on the top left of the picture, you have a server, the server orchestrates all the resources in the network. And by all, I mean, the resources, onboard resources for that particular user, up the way to the communication resources and cloud resources and different RAN resources and Wi-Fi resources, all of them. So as you can see, it's complicated, but good news is that in new generations of wireless communication system, you have some kind of APIs enabling you to look at and ask network to do something for you. So dependability as a service could be basically sell as a service to either people or users or other service providers as the whole. And the idea, I just basically skipped this one. The idea is, okay, wherever we have multiple objectives, multiple systems, competing for a shared resource, and it is multiple objective, you cannot, satisfy all of them. So multiple parties need to compromise, which means that we have a Pareto optimal, which means that we have some kind of trade-offs. So this dependable connectivity as a service basically provides a platform to exploit that kind of trade-offs and manage them in a good way. So what I think about this project is, again, 36-month project, and I thought about architecture, system design, algorithm design, and machine learning. As you can see, because it's going to be a server, because it's going to be able to allocate resources in different levels, so maybe machine learning would be a good idea. And it is very easily, scalable to using machine learning in that context, modeling and analysis, implementation and conformity with different standards in the context, and coordination and delivery. We are looking for basically, we talked about this project around, and Lancaster and Manchester, we have a part funding for this project already in place. We are also looking for SMEs mainly in mobile edge networks or cloud computing or anything, any SME with middleware kind of specialty, machine learning and algorithm, optimization and modeling, and also project coordination and testbed. We have been in talk with Paramus, which is a SME in the UK. They develop some kind of middleware for IoT, and they are basically very interested to join this project. This brings my presentation to an end. These are my basically contact, and I would be happy to discuss it further. Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Navai. Are there questions to this project pitch? No? Then, there's one question.
Hello, thanks for the presentation. I'm in this area in SDN and SDN solutions area. Can we summarize the required needed project as a AI-powered dynamic network slicing technology?
It's not slicing per se, because you don't do it centrally. It's just a service provider which, works with other service providers and work with their slices. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, there will be also another pitch later on, which is on a 5G framework. They are still searching for verticals as use cases, so maybe you're also interested in it? Yeah? Okay, thank you for presenting. So the next presentation will be from Harald Linke from HiTech. He will present his already labeled project, if he's in the room. He's not yet in the room. So maybe we skip this one and take the next one. Then the next presenter will be John Cosmas. He's presenting 5G vehicle. So please come on stage. Hello.
Okay. How do I press it to start it? Oh, yeah. 5G vehicles is a name I made up on the spur of the moment. I'm John Cosmas from Brunel University. How does this go? Supposed to. The lower button. One slide. What's the main benefit of the idea? The proposal is based on an existing 5G home platform. If you go to stand 66 in the sort of new area, you'll see a prototype, a millimeter wave, 60 gigahertz, and VLC 5G network designed for the home. Our proposal is to put these into vehicles, in particular trains and planes. What makes the added value? 5G within vehicles and between the vehicle and its infrastructure will provide a broadband access in those vehicles. I don't know if anyone has travelled in Eurostar, but you don't get very good wireless access. And we want to somehow change it. Why should I participate in the project? train, plane and car infrastructure integrator is some companies we're interested in, although we do have Zodiac for airplanes. Train, station, airport or road infrastructure operator would be useful. A VLC, we do have a VLC and millimeter wave component manufacturers within, but we're open to others. A smartphone manufacturer would be interested, anyone from the UK. And light system manufacturer would be interesting. And a 5G core network operator would be useful for us as well. We're working as a team consisting of Viavi Solutions. I don't know if anybody knows. Viavi Solutions is the old Marconi Communications with Guillermo Marconi involved. And the University of Leicester, and who are working on the Layer 1, Layer 2 protocol layer development. Viavi are providing the physical layer for 5G, and Brunel University, we're providing the Layer 2 protocol and the NFE SDN application layer development. It's based on a platform that we are starting to integrate. This is what it looks like. It consists of remote radio lighthead access points, driving VLC and millimeter wave remote radio lightheads on a 10 gig Ethernet ring, and with a SDN NFV server as a type of MEC server. And that MEC server, we propose to locate on the train or the plane, and to use artificial intelligence to look at the profile usage, internet usage of the passengers, and to preload internet pages onto that sort of really large MEC server, so that 99% of the interactive application to the internet is dealt with on the MEC server, and only 1% needs to actually go through the infrastructure on the backhaul to the actual internet server itself. So please do come to the stand, and if you're interested in the project, and we can explain to you the technology and how it could help this use case. So here's one of the two use cases we're interested in. The train, it could equally well be a plane, and when the train passes a millimeter wave island, then it gets downloaded with the data that it doesn't have on the MEC server through the backhaul. The idea is to provide an ultra-high data rate to users onboard train. We can get the current architecture of the system. We can get 750 megabit per second linked to users. But with using wider bandwidths, because we're using 100 megahertz bandwidths for the millimeter wave. If we are using wider bandwidths, we can increase that by a factor of 4. Yeah, we're interested in a 3-year project. The architecture itself is largely been designed, and components have largely been built, but it needs to be adapted for the new use cases, particularly the light fittings and how the small footprint electronics would fit into, like the reading light of a train, or of a plane, or the strip light of a car, or something like that. So we will need a certain amount of design in the first year. In the second year, we will do the additional implementations that we need to do to make the system work for those two use cases. And in the third year, we'll try to focus on demonstration, something like that. Yeah, so the existing consortium is Viavi Solutions, who the old Marconi Communications. University of Leicester, Brunel University, and members from our existing project, Fraunhofer, who provide the millimeter wave modules to adapt and develop those further, Raniel, who provide the layer 1 protocol stack, ISEP, who provide the visible light communication modules, and Zodiac, who the aircraft systems provider. We will be interested in partners who, in particular, the train provider. We do have some contacts with Korea, who've provided trackside infrastructure, who provide trackside infrastructure, but we don't have a train infrastructure manufacturer or integrator that would be more suitable. A station or an airport operator will be useful, so that that they could be involved in the access of data. A smartphone manufacturer, we do have very good links with chipset manufacturers for 5G, and our current system, our smartphone is like a Dell 740 server, which is like a huge machine, but we'd like to integrate that into something more manageable, like a sort of a laptop. We do have ambitions to have a more suitable one, and to integrate the millimeter wave and the visible light sensors onto that device and an interface onto that device. And ideally, perhaps a core network provider, so that we can explore end-to-end, low latency end-to-end services from these, what I call quasi-indoor platforms. Have I got any others? Oh, yes. That's me, next to my friend, Fox. And to my email address, that's my telephone number, and we'd be interested in anybody who would want to participate in this, a project like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Please stay on stage. I might have a question. Could you just summarize in short, what would be the main benefit for a train operator or airport operator to participate?
The main benefit is for their customers. To have a good quality radio signal inside their vehicles for their clients to work or play games or study while they're traveling. That's right. So it's added value to their clients, because if you go into trains and planes, you don't get a very good internet access at this stage. But we'd like to change all that.
Yeah, you also have this light communication.
Yes, there's also these trains and planes are Faraday cages. So if you do wireless communication within this Faraday cage, the signal goes bouncing around everywhere. And in order to avoid that, one solution could be to use the reading lights of a plane using visible light communications. We are getting 50 megabit per second from the visible light part of our network, and if that is shared, say, amongst four or eight passengers, then that would be more than enough for them to view a film or to play a game or something.
Sorry for asking too many questions, but
Sorry?
would you need? Sorry for asking too many questions, but would you need additional hardware in the plane to have access to light?
Yes, we need additional hardware in the plane because we need a network plane. The hardware does look a little bit large at this point because they're made from FPGAs and large servers. But if the ASICs are built from these could be a rather small 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter square box.
Okay,
boxes that would need to be as large as the connections that needed to be. It's not that electronics would dimension the box. It would be the number of connectors you'd need to connect to it that would dimension the box. You see what I'm saying? Thank you.
Thank you. So,
any other questions? Thank you.
No? So then I see Harold is in the room. I would say we switch to the CRITISEC presentation. This is an already labeled project, and Harold will give you insights on the status of the project. So.
The right one. CRITISEC. Which one? Okay, this is now the right slides. Okay, sorry for being late, but I was outside the exhibition. The discussion took some more time. Okay, so I would like to introduce you a little bit into the CRITISEC project and some issues that we have. Okay. So the main idea of the CRITISEC project is to provide security for critical infrastructures. As you know, this is one of the main parts of this overall exhibition here, 5G and other topics, that critical infrastructures are more and more distributed. So there are no closed systems anymore. They go out to the world. If you think about power technology or other critical infrastructures, communication infrastructures, they are more distributed, and you have more intelligence on the edges, especially, for instance, IoT devices, but also other intelligence. If you think about the new upcoming autonomous cars that should be controlled by via 5G, you have to make the intelligence at the edge of the network and not in the center anymore because of the delay that otherwise is introduced. The problem with these edge networks is that they are very prone to attacks. They are not so closed as before the central networks. On the other case, they also don't have the power to be so secured as big networks, especially when you are talking about IoT devices that are distributed, that have very low power capacities. So they are very prone to attacks. So we need to improve the security for these ad networks. And this is one of the main topics that we are discussing in CRITISEC. Okay, a short profile of HITEC. I don't want to go into details. HITEC is a small engineering company from Luxembourg. We are more than 30 years in business and have around 45 to 50. Today we have 49 employees, mainly engineers in the engineering area. We are building technology from satellite communication up to mission-critical communication solutions. So the purpose of the overall CRITISEC solution is to increase the security of IoT and cloud solutions in the edge network. The goal is there to create standardized security solutions, to determine best practices for the security of the edge network, and provide solutions that increase the security. So we have a lot of research topics that will be covered by the project. One is using artificial intelligence for the threat analysis to understand, okay, if there is a threat to the system, if somebody attacking the system, and how to mitigate this attack. We would also want to analyze, okay, how blockchain can support the confirmation of trustworthiness of sensor data in open networks, end-to-end security for isolation in open platforms, identity access management, secure end-to-end communication, and security life cycles. These are a lot of topics that are very interesting and where we have partners, okay, that are supporting these topics. And we have the use cases to show, okay, how these solutions could be shown. These are, one part is energy distribution, smart cities for sure, IoT for critical logistics, identity management for IoT, IoT for distributed ledgers, and critical communication and small IoT services. So the results should be a modular solution for secure IoT use cases, uses in critical infrastructures, best practices, and for sure, okay, we have to drive the standardization to make it possible, okay, how to use the devices. So the project started already in January 2019, so for Sweden and Luxembourg as the main partners. So the duration is 36 months, so in 3 years we will hopefully be able to close the project. But we have one problem, we have a funding situation in Finland. This is unfortunately one of the main problems that most CELTIC projects have, that you start with the partners in the proposal that got the label, and then some partners don't get the funding. Unfortunately, this is the first time that we have this problem with Finland. Up to now, it was very sure that this was working. So we have now the problem that Luxembourg with 3 partners and Sweden with 6 partners have started already. And the Finnish partners are still waiting for the funding decision. And if I'm not wrong, okay, I just got the information that the funding will not be granted. So there's a high risk that these partners cannot participate from Finland anymore. So we are looking for additional partners that can support the project. As you see from the use cases are very broad. We are looking for partners in the area of these kind of use cases where you have edge networks that are very prone to security problems, and where you're looking for solutions. If you want more details, okay, I'm outside at the exhibition, so we can discuss more details if you're interested. And here's also my contact information in Luxembourg. Thank you.
Thank you, Harald. Are there already interested partners inside this room? No? Maybe they can approach you later. Thank you, Harald.
So what are the Finnish companies that you would need to replace? It's F-Secure, they are in the security domain, and Centria. Can you maybe just give a little bit the profile of these companies?
Okay, that's difficult because I don't know all the companies by heart. Okay, Centria, there's a chance that Centria and F-Secure will still participate, but I cannot talk about this at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a plan B to get some partners still in the project, but we have to reduce, especially we have the problem with power technology that was mainly covered by Finland, and the topic about IoT devices in the edge.
Okay, well, this is a problem that can arrive because we have this situation that the money is coming from national government. And so what we usually are telling our projects when they're doing the setup, if there are critical expertise, try to have them from more than one country. Then you can secure the project against these kinds of situations.
So fortunately, the project, we know this advice, and also, in fact, okay, Luxembourg and Sweden can cover this from technology point, everything that was postpaid in the project, but some use cases are missing. And so we were looking for additional use cases that could show more the capabilities of these solutions and could advance them. And as I said, okay, it's always good to have not only from two countries partners, but having a third one to get more know-how and more ideas into the project.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we will come to the next presentation. It will be about Edge Cloud MEC content update via geo broadcast services. So Mr. Xavier Pons-Mas-Bernat, please come on stage.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Xavier Pons. I come from Airbus, and I'm here to present this proposal for a project that we had. It's about everything is on title, so Edge Cloud make content update via geo broadcast services. The idea is how we can provide the most visited content that we have on the net, close to the users through the E-Node-B or G-Node-B, and reduce the latency that we have, and how we can send this information through satellite. The idea behind that is offload the terrestrial network that the operators could have, improving the end-to-end quality of experience, reducing this latency. And we have now in the next 5G networks that we're more dense. So we want to pass from the left image like what we have today in 4G networks. We go to the 5G networks, which is going to be more dense, and they will have to have the mix servers in each of the E-Node-Bs, the G-Node-Bs. So for sending this information, we can have a saturation on the backhaul network. So one of the things that we thought is we can send it through satellites using the broadcast mode. This is something that if you see outside the Sat5G, they are doing something similar. But now what we want to take benefits is from broadcast mode and work very closely with mobile network operators to see how they can see that. For example, the use case that we are seeing on that is the last game that was playing last night. People the day after want to see the highlights of this game, so we can put these images on the edge in the make of all the base stations, and we can do it that by the geo satellites sending broadcast this information. So with this solution, we think that we can improve the transport, and we will have a better experience from the user, and we can reduce the latency on that. So the context of this solution comes from the 5G, which requires low latency for internet content. So we know that the most popular content on internet is going to be viewed or visited by 80% of people. 80% of the traffic in 2025 it has to be the video. So if you can put this content on the radio access node, it could be more appropriate to reduce the latency and avoid saturation on the network. The solution of GeoSatellite, it brings us the broadcast, so we can imagine putting all this information broadcastly of all base stations that there are in a country to see the highlights said previously. The objective of this project is to define, prototype, and test an end-to-end multi-access edge computer content update through the GeoSatcom broadcast services. The idea is to work closely, as I said, with mobile network operators and people that can select which is the content most visited the last few hours to be updated afterwards in the MEC servers. The scope is to define an architecture from brand, DNS, edge computer, edge content receiver terminal, DNS analysis and content prioritization schemes. All about also the DNS, define and prototype DNS analysis and content prioritization. The definition and prototyping of the edge SATCOM receiver terminal, and iteration and testing of the prototype end-to-end. We think that this project can be planned for 2 years, but we are open to discuss with some other partners that want to join us in this project. We think that we are looking for potential partners. We will participate for sure, and we can coordinate if it's required. There's no problem for that. But we are looking for, as I said, mobile network operators. 2 or 3 would be a good point. And we are also looking for satellite com operators as well to bring this broadcast link. And also we are looking for one CDN video delivery component provider as well. to select the content that should be delivered to each one of the base stations. If you want to know more about that, you can contact me. There are more details, more contact here, or if we want to, we can discuss later on. I will be around here as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. Are you based in France or in Germany?
No, I'm based in France.
Okay. So the project would be also run in France?
Will be based in France, principally, but we need to see which teams can work, if they are more from Toulouse or Germany teams as well. It will depend also on the financing, but principally mainly should be France.
Okay. Thank you. Are there questions? Yes, there's one question.
Hello, I'm John Cosmas from Brunel University. I presented just prior to you. Would you be interested to provide this backhaul for planes and trains?
One of the use cases we are thinking about also is about plane, but it's something that also has been already presented outside in SAT 5G, is to provide this broadcast connectivity, provide MEC inside each plane. It's something similar to you presented previously. And also it could be trains or wherever, but we are thinking more since we are doing also the aircraft, put this only in an aircraft, put the MEC servers in the aircraft and deliver the content that is that needs to be seen or visited by the users inside the aircraft. But it's something that there is a use case really close in SAT 5G project.
So there could be a hierarchy of MEC servers, some on the actual vehicle and some, close to the vehicle but not on the vehicle and so on. Something of that nature.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Okay, are there additional questions? So you mentioned 5G and the low latency is important for your approach?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to put all the content close to the user, so put it in the edge, close to the input bit to reduce the latency. So in this way, when the user wants to see the videos or wherever they want to visit, it's more closer to the user, and we reduce the saturation that it could be in the transport network, because since 5G it will be ultra dense networks, the backhaul link, it would be very saturated if we need to send all this information to each one of the input bits that would be in the network. So it's more about the backhaul part.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Then we come to the next presentation. It's about safe home. So please, Mr. Ayman Radwan, come on stage.
Okay. Thank you, Christian. Hello, everyone. I'm Ayman Radwan from Instituto de Telecomunicações from Portugal. It's a research center. We are situated in multiple cities inside Portugal. I am in Aveiro, a nice city on the coast, so hopefully when we get partners, you can come and visit us. We are also part of the numbers that Peter was talking on. We are already involved in a couple of projects, CELTIC projects. I'm the coordinator of Muscles project, and you can come and visit our booth outside. So anyway, today I'll talk about safe home. Basically, it's providing a safe environment for older people inside their home. We are trying to give them autonomous and live their life as normal as possible at the comfort of their home. So the motivation is our population is getting older, And this is good news. First of all, we are living healthier. The population of 60 plus and years old has doubled in 2017 compared to 1980. So this is all good news, but this doesn't come easy because, of course, it puts burdens on the health care system, and that's why UN has put, I'm sure everybody here is aware of the 2030 sustainable goals of the United Nations, and one of them was ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. So e-health is at the core of our ICT and 5G. So this is what we want to do. The impact will be first socioeconomic impact. We are enabling older people to live healthy and autonomous life, independent at the comfort of their home. We don't want to send our parents or grandparents to go live in elder house. So this way we can let them live and stay at home and be fully functional without being worried so much. So monitoring them without impeding their freedom and autonomous. Second part will be economic impact by reducing the cost of healthcare by trying to avoid hospital visits, nursing, home care providers and all that stuff. So this is a very good thing for reducing costs, especially for pensioners and stuff like that, that will put a lot of burdens on them. So our optimum goal is autonomous monitoring system for older citizens at home, and it can have a use case for outdoors and to enable them to live a fully independent, autonomous life outside. I already talked about IT, so if you have any question, you can ask me after. This is the system that we are already working on, and we have that. So we are working on a lot of sensors, especially optical fiber sensors. And you can see here, we have sensors to monitor the pressure on the foot. We have sensors to monitor the angle of the knee, the ankle, all that stuff. And this is like an e-health wearable solution, which is already going on. But what we want to introduce in this one is more like home safety at home and monitoring at home. So how is that different? I'm guessing all of us know someone or have relatives who are a bit older. I guess good thing I don't see anyone of here. All of us are young and no older people here, so that's good. But you know, older people have problems with technology. You don't want to give them a watch, for example, for blood pressure, heartbeats. They're like, oh, I forgot to charge it. I need to charge it. I'll take it off. I will need to put it on again. So wearables are good for them, but not the best option, especially at home. They don't want to put a sensor all over them. So what we want to do is a requirement here is smart home, but without being wearables, non-invasive, like something like what we are working on as well is like smart carpet, so sensor on the carpet so you know their activity, how often they move and stuff. Smart mattress with sensors on the mattress to see if they are sleeping too long, if they are lying too long, and especially with older age, there is a problem with ulceration when they are sleeping on the same spot all the time. So all these different type of sensor, of course, temperature, humid, and try blood pressure and all that without being wearables. So from these requirements, we will do a lot of sensor design in different use cases, and we will do efficient, reliable networking. We can look at LoRa, NB-IoT, or other technology if partners are willing to. And the important part is how to process this data. There will be two ways, either on the cloud or on the fog. The fog is closer, so to check things like if the person falls, you need a fast reply or fast response. So these things can be processed on the fog. The cloud can be used for more like average things like how often they move, their movement during the week and stuff like that. And at the end, we need artificial intelligence and machine or machine learning either to understand all these, because we have direct measurements like blood pressure, temperature of the person, all that are direct, but we need more complex information about how active they are, if they fall, and all that is not as easy as this. Additionally, as I said, the physical and mental health of the older people is very important, and one part of it is socializing and interacting with others. So one of the use case or the things that we want to we work on is, are they socially active? So it's important to see if they are interacting with people, are they going out of the house or only active inside the house? If they are inside the house, they can also be active inside the house and people are visiting them, so it's good. If not, and we can have a use case that is about video and exercising at home with the nurses, checking them through videos and stuff like that. So this is the overall idea. Here we have the consortium. We're just starting to build the consortium, and it's only Portugal at the current moment. We are IT and University of Aveiro, UA, which we have the sensor design expertise. We have the efficient networking. We are working with trying to get a clinic or a home care service from Portugal, and a couple of SMEs from Portugal will be interested in it. We are looking for, as Peter was saying, it's very important to have redundancy. So sensor design, whether wearable or not, will be very useful, and wireless connectivity. In addition, we want artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud and fog computing, and some end users like clinics, elder homes, or home care provider. And this is it. This is my contacts. And if you want more, if you are interested and want to discuss more, I'm outside at the Muscles booth. Thank you. Any questions?
Have you already discussed with the people from the Front VL team?
Front VL, right? Yeah, we talked with EuCNC from Sweden, and they said interested, but it's very like at the beginning. But yeah, we talked with them, and we hopefully will contact with them, and hopefully they will join the group. Or the concert. You are from EuCNC?
No. I'm from Orange and from the CELTIC management team. But the subject was clear to me.
Their system is kind of the top part of what we want to do. Yeah, I told them that already, and we talked with a couple of Spanish partners, but no commitment. So that's why I didn't want to put them. But yes, we talked with EuCNC.
Okay.
Other questions?
If there is no additional question, please stay on stage. We will have a second presentation.
Yes.
It's about the project pitch Rascal.
Rascal.
Yeah.
Okay, but this one is like a last minute one, and it's from my partner in the team. So I'll just read basically what he's talking about, and then we can discuss a bit, but more questions should be better directed to him. But it's about radar augmented sensing, communication, and advanced local services. So basically what is going on new now is combined sensing and communication. So they want to use the terahertz radar and communication capability to have devices that can do both. So the hardware can do sensing and communication. So the project aims at novel radar augmented sensing for beyond 5G. And you can see here 6G, but I'm very careful saying 6G. We're still waiting for 5G, but anyway. And we want advanced situational awareness to 6G networks via RATCOM. So this will improve, of course, the resource management and the spectrum utilization, especially if you have the same hardware using or doing the sensing and the communication, better coverage and support for new value added and new use cases. So we should provide low-cost hardware modules that, again, can do radar communication and sensing, and aim to provide initial proof of concept, and hopefully with this kind of hardware you can offer new services. It will strengthen definitely European industry because it's a very new topic that I didn't hear about it before 2 days ago, so it's very new. I don't know if anybody heard about it here, but I hope someone knows more about it. This is a very initial view. So you have the services on top, and you have the physical wall down there. And as you can see, the communication and sensing are done on the same hardware, and this can use as radars. And I guess a lot of the use cases that has been described here, the cars, automated cars, passenger, and all that stuff can be in the use cases here, and the sensing will be augmented and integrated with the communication part. And then we need the comprehension and situation awareness for the new technology, RADCOM radio cartography. And of course, this is the 5G LTE is still there. So I'm sorry if I cannot give more, but my colleague, Dr. Shahid Mumtaz, is as IT and the same group as me, and he's the one who suggested this project. So you can contact me, and I can give you his contact, or contact me through him, or contact him through me. Thank you. A bit of confusion there.
Very nice presentations, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you leave us a microphone? Okay. So the next presentation will be David Castells-Rufus. Yes, it's called Open LP1.
Okay, thanks for the introduction. Okay, I'm David Castells from UAB, a university in Barcelona. I'm going to talk about LP1, which is low power wide area network. Today we are talking about 5G and high bandwidth networking, but I'm going to go the opposite way, low power, low bandwidth. So the typical scenario in low power wide area network is that you have a communication tower, like with a gateway. I think this, like this thing. And this tower has like a range, a coverage range of maybe 1 kilometer to 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 40 kilometers. And you have thousands of devices that can connect to that tower of communication, so a gateway. And to make it possible, you use very low power communication standards. And those, what is the scenario for that? This is the typical scenario for that kind of systems is wireless sensor networks. So you have thousands of such devices that are connected there, and that they provide some information to a cloud to be consumed for someone. Applications of those kinds of wireless sensor networks, for instance, smart agriculture, metering, and other things like maybe safety in the roads or things like that. What would you expect in bandwidth? Well, the reality is that such devices are low powered and they are battery operated. And usually they have a long life battery. So you deploy the device with a battery, and that battery lasts for the whole life of the device, maybe 10 years. To make it possible, this device has to consume very few energy. And to make it possible, you need to transmit very few information. So typically, you just transmit maybe 10 bytes a day. 10 bytes a day, that's very few information. So when you aggregate this thing, well, actually, this gateway is only receiving about maybe 10 gigabits from thousands of devices. Aggregated bandwidth I'm talking about. So if you remember this, the keynote, the second keynote this morning, he was talking about 5G, but he was talking also about the investments of 5G and who is going to invest in what technology and so on. Here we are talking about 10-year investment because you want to deploy systems that have to be in the market for 10 years. You have to bet in a safe standard. What standards do we have? We have lots of them. We have NB-IoT. This is from the 3GSM. But then this is for, there's LT-CAT-M also. But those are standards for the licensed bands. So there are network operators that can provide you with those frequencies, and you can put the devices using those. This is a safe bet, right? Operators will make profit of those offerings, but you will be tied to the operators for 10 years. So don't remember that. Then, what is the other options on licensed bands? On licensed bands, there are some proposals of protocols using unlicensed bands like Sigfox and LoRa. And there are more. So I'm going to look at them and just propose something, right? First, I'm from the University Autonomous of Barcelona, on the other side of the mountain of Barcelona. And we have some experience on LP1. Actually, we built a company, a spin-off company, working on the metering domain. They have been working on all typical protocols, Sigfox, LoRa, proprietary protocols, and so on. And we have some experience out of that. So what is the experience? You have Sigfox coverage. They are marketing coverage all over the world. Basically, in Europe, you have this map. But Sigfox is offering you the frequency band is free, so it's unlicensed band. You're not paying for to occupy the radio frequencies. But Sigfox is an operator. So you are tied to an operator again if you use the unlicensed band in Sigfox. On the other hand, there is LoRa. In LoRa, you're free. I mean, you're not paying to an operator, but you can build yourself your gateways, or you can use gateways from third parties or from free people, people that put gateways freely. And this is what these guys are doing, the Things Network. They are aggregating traffic from people that are contributing to the community. The messages received by gateways. So this is another option. However, with LoRa, you're tied to the one chip manufacturer, which is CELTIC. So I'm not telling that this is bad, I'm just telling that you're tied for a long time. What are the other options? Well, ETSI is promoting two other standards, and also there is another standard which is more open. More open in what sense? They are kind of license free, and they are, there is like a community trying to build more openness in the sense that you can change more freely from providers. So my proposal is to work to build an ecosystem on those open technologies and move away from the other ones which are tying you for a long time. And the business models, I forgot to tell you about. There is business models on all the value chain. For instance, you could be surprised to know that some operators are providing these unlicensed ban services. So, for instance, I think in Sweden or in Finland and Denmark, they provide you with this support of LoRa, for instance. Why? Because this is very cheap for them. You have a long range, you just put some gateway, and you can operate quite easily with very few data rate, very small data rate. So for an operator, it's cheap. And where is the benefit from the operator side? Well, you can provide value-added services, like data aggregation, data analysis, and all those things that cloud providers could be offering. Also, there's business for system integrators, system deployers, and system manufacturers. So there's business in all the value chain. And there's basically two ways to make business here. One is about private networks. So imagine a remote scenario like a mining site. You could be deploying all these technologies to get information from your wireless sensors, but then probably an operator is not interested in installing all the systems to make a few money there. So you must allow the same protocol, the same technology to be used on both sides, in private networks and in public networks, to make the best of both worlds. So basically this is the idea, to promote those protocols. Actually, those protocols are already in the market, but there is few experiences on them. Actually, there is a lot of buzz, especially in academia, about LoRa, but actually there is few business also in LoRa right now. So the current situation of the idea, the consortium, we have two partners and one contact here. Basically, this is our university. AP Plus is the company that is certifying certifying products for the worldwide community, but is the world certifier of weightless protocol. So there's only one allowed certified in the world. This is AP Plus. And here in the UK is the weightless SIG, Special Interest Group, which is the proposer of one of the three standards that I mentioned, and we would like to have more companies in the whole value chain. So this is only starting now, but we would like to have, for instance, smart farming companies, operators providing data analysis services, integrators of devices, and all the services and systems that you can think of in this scenario. So my contact is here, and please contact me if you have some interest.
Yes, thank you, David. Other questions from the audience? No? Then maybe I would like to point out for you, there was in our London Proposals Day a proposal about agriculture technologies. Maybe I can send you the details and connect you with them. So,
right.
Good. Some of it. Okay, thank you. Very good. Then we will have another presentation from Airbus, from Jean-Christophe Schiel. It's about 5G air-to-ground communication.
Thank you. Okay, so I think last presentation. My name is Jean-Christophe Schill. I'm working for Airbus Defence and Space. And today, my pitch is on 5G air-to-ground connectivity. So as a passenger, I'm sure that you would like to communicate inside the plane when flying, of course, not on the ground. And so we are seeing at Airbus a growing demand for more connectivity inside the aircraft, for passengers, but also for the aircraft itself. So what are we doing now? We are using SATCOMs, so satellite communications, using geostationary satellites. But it is an expensive solution, and it requires also a SATCOM, a SATENA above the aircraft. So it's quite expensive. This situation is quite improving because we are seeing the new LEO, so low Earth orbit satellites, which are closer to Earth and satellites. And this satellite solution is still the best, of course, solution when flying above the oceans. So using 5G from the ground to the aircraft could be a very good solution to add more connectivity inside the airplane and as a complement of LEO satellites. So main idea of this project is to connect an aircraft like a 5G, conventional normal 5G user on the ground. But as you probably know, an aircraft is not a conventional user because it flies at a very high altitude, up to 40,000 feet, and at a very high speed, up to 1,000 kilometers per hour. So your user equipment, your modem, must have different kind of modifications, so changes. So you have to change the modem, SDR modem itself, to cope with some effects, like the Doppler effect. And you have to change your base station because you have a very high-flying user in front of your base station as a user. On the antennas, maybe using beamforming or different kind of antennas, and also on the different 5G protocols. I have in mind the handover thing, because if you have a high density of ground base station, your aircraft flying over the base station, your aircraft user will have to do lots of handovers. And of course, as to fly inside an aircraft, you need sort of flight certification. So in this project, we are not looking for full flight certification, but we will look at minimal requirements for to fly inside an aircraft. So it's electromagnetic conditions, environmental conditions, fire, explosion proof, etc. So the expected benefits, of course, higher data rates for the user inside the aircraft, very low latency. Currently using GEO satellites, it's more than seconds. Using LEO satellites, it will be few milliseconds, and using 5G, it could be milliseconds. So, and so also cheaper, because it's like a standard user on the ground. And of course, good service availability in dense areas. So in over highly populated areas, typically across continental Europe. And of course, it will rely on 5G, so a worldwide standard. So some challenges, so Doppler, the latency, in fact, due to handovers, maybe, and of course the oceans problem and low density areas. We still have to maybe to do some studies about that, etc. and the main challenge is the radio, the modem itself. So the project duration could be 36 months, and with an outcome could be a prototype, maybe flying prototype, we don't know for the moment. It will depend on different partners and also the different flight tests that we could do, and also our internal funding. So no consortium for the moment, only still an idea, but we are looking for different partners. First, telecom operator, a service provider, because of the overall system view, because we plan to rely on existing telecommunication operators on the ground. Of course, a telecommunication equipment manufacturer for the base station itself, because if we had to modify something, we have to do it in partnership with a manufacturer. But also on the antennas, maybe the ground antennas to have using MIMO for the beamforming or punch antennas, we don't know for the moment. And also the airborne antenna, which is more easy because there are some existing antennas already on the market. And the last point on a partner that could work with us on SDR, flight certifiable modem. So we can, as Airbus, we can do the flight certification work, but we are asking for a partner to work with us on a modem side. So here is my contact. You can you have all my details here. So I'm free after this session to talk with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Jean-Christophe. Are there questions, maybe from the operator side? No question?
What?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Adam Kopovic-Juraskom. Just one question. I mean, how does this solution would relate to the solution that is already applied in the European Aviation Network? Because they also have ground to cabin or to airplane, and of course it's not 5G, it's LTE, right?
Yes, here the goal is to rely on a worldwide standard, typically 5G, and it's to offer connectivity to both passengers, but also for the equipment inside the aircraft to connect the aircraft to the ground. So it's similar, but it offers more, and especially for the passengers.
A very interesting question. So, there are other ones?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. Just one question, like technical a bit. Are you planning for the beam to follow the plane, or will it be passing through the different antennas and just handovering all the time? And how much connection will you get, like with each base station? You understand, as you said, the plane is going so fast. So what is the contact with the base station?
Yes, it's a very good technical question. In fact, we still don't know for the moment. Current solutions are relying on antennas pointing towards the sky. Simple antenna, I would say. But in this case, we are planning to study also antennas with beamforming that are following the aircraft. As you have the aircraft is flying at a very high speed, but it's orthogonal to the ground. And then you have less speed to follow. So that's why a partner could bring such technology algorithms on the antenna itself, and maybe also the antenna itself, and to follow the aircraft. And of course, not only one aircraft, multiple aircrafts.
Yes, it's a question going a little bit in the same direction. I know that it's quite difficult to communicate with high-speed trains because of Doppler effect. The plane is even 3 times faster, so the problem will be 3 times bigger. How will you resolve this problem?
Yes, you're right. In fact, here it's the fact that the planes are flying parallelly to the ground, on a parallel way to the ground. So the Doppler effect is linked to the different speed between the antennas. And then here the Doppler effect is a big issue, but not so big as 3 times more. In fact, it's less big issues than for a train, I would say. I've done some studies about that. So.
Okay. Okay. One additional one.
Sorry, the SDR modem you mentioned, can you give, is it software-defined radio modem?
Yes.
Can you tell about the requirement about it?
In fact, why we would like a SDR modem is to maybe to improve the waveform above this modem. Because we can implement a 5G waveform on it, but we can, using software radio technology, we can improve it. I have in mind the different algorithms to cope with Doppler and other effects in order to modify it more easily than conventional modems. Yes. And yes, because the idea behind is to have the same hardware that can do the satellite communication and the air-to-ground communication in 5G.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot of interest. Then we will have. Then I would like to ask Mr. Ji Wang to come on stage to explain us about. Can you make it larger? About his 5G proposal. Which one is it? Can you scroll down? It's gone down. Do you find it? Yes. Yes, yes. Sorry.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chi Wang. I'm part of the University of West of Scotland in UK team. So I'm delivering this pitch on behalf of myself and also Professor Jose, which is my colleague. The title is 5G CVE, and so we are focusing on proposing a cognitive control framework to empower smart 5G verticals. The first slide is about the main benefit, added value. So the main benefit highlighted here is to provide this framework so that we can facilitate vertical industries to adopt 5G technologies. Because the concern for us is that 5G is coming, but there are some resistance from the verticals to actually fully embrace 5G technologies. Partially, this is because the intelligence, because 5G is not just about speed, not just about low latency, etc., but it's also about vertical businesses. So how we empower the vertical businesses to leverage 5G intelligence, this is the main motivation behind our idea. So ideally, the envisioned framework will be able to empower the verticals so that they can order to build intelligence based on our framework by benefiting from an intelligent 5G network especially the control architecture I'm going to present. So ultimately, the goal is to enable the verticals to create tangible revenues, to create smart and intelligent services to benefit their businesses in the forthcoming 5G era. Accordingly, the added value to the verticals will be multifold. So for example, we can expect more varied services provided based on different, for example, machine learning based artificial intelligences to improve the end users' experience, and also to reduce the cost to create and to deploy the services. Not just in the service composition phases, but also in the operational phases, for example, to debug, to troubleshoot the problems in the services. And also there are additional benefits for other project participants in addition to the verticals, because we are envisioning an ecosystem involving different stakeholders involved in the 5G, including a 5G value chain from the network, service providers, communication service providers, manufacturers, and also verticals. And the framework is intended to be an extensible one to support different business roles. For the organization, we are part of the university, especially we are leading a Scottish Research Centre of Excellence on Artificial Intelligence, Visual Communications and Networks. It's known as EuCNC. Our unit includes 6 full professors, 4 associated and assistant professors, and more than 50 postdoctoral researchers or PhD students. So it's an important research force in the university. I just want to highlight, between my colleague Jose and myself, we are technical managers of 2 recent 5G projects. The phase 1 project, SelfNet, and the phase 2 project, SliceNet. So they are large-scale EU 5GPP projects sponsored in the Horizon 2020 program. SelfNet finished last year, focusing on producing a self-organized networking framework for network operators. And SliceNet is still ongoing, and we have extended SelfNet to provide more intelligence to support verticals. And the idea of this proposal currently I'm delivering is further built upon SliceNet. Okay. So you can see the diagram. It's a very draft, let's see, indicative diagram to show you both achievement from the 2 European projects I just mentioned, and also the vision further into the future to support the verticals. It's a layered model. I'm not going to introduce the layer individually, but you can see the bottom part is more about infrastructures managed by infrastructure providers. And then we have the virtualization layer to allow software-defined networks, programmability of the 5G network and services. And further up, through the 2 European projects, we have established a cognitive control loop based on the Maple loop to offer intelligence to both network operators and also vertical users. The capabilities we have been exploring is quite wide. So for instance, the framework is able to support self-configuration of network functions or services, self-healing of the network against network failures or faults, self-optimization of the network performances, for example, to support video applications in e-health or other use cases, and also self-protection in terms of security, for example, against distributed denial of service attacks. And finally, especially in the SliceNet project, we have been achieving end-to-end slicing This means multi-domain slicing across different network service providers to actually enable wide array service provisioning. So the proposal itself, as I mentioned, will be further developed to introduce a vertical support layer on top of the achievements to support a wide range of use cases. For example, like smart city, smart home, e-health, smart factory, manufacturing, etc. The expected incomes include the following. So first, we expect to create this functional cognitive control framework, but more tailored to verticals. So we are shifting now the focus from telecom operator-oriented to vertical-oriented to allow them to plug in their intelligence based on their business requirements. So we would like to validate this machine learning-based approach on top of the framework in the European project. And we are expecting several demonstrations based on various vertical use cases from different stakeholders, from different vertical industries. And we also plan to actually realize some earlier deployment of selected use cases to highlight, to showcase the benefits for the vertical industries and also 5G, telecom sectors. In terms of expected impacts, we would like to help to form this novel 5G artificial intelligence value chain in the 5G era. We want to help, especially the verticals, to avoid a lot of overhead to use 5G to enable their intelligent services. So the idea is to provide a common framework to be applicable to many use cases, to a range of verticals, regardless of their particular business services. So they only need to focus on creating the intelligence for their business, so that particular part of the value chain. And hopefully the framework will take care for the rest, so that we can support different vertical users of different sizes. It can be SMEs or large industries to benefit more from the artificial intelligence in the 5G networks. For the schedule of the project, it's under discussion. So currently, we are considering 36 months. For partners, the consortium is being established, so it's still in the progress. We welcome partners from different countries to contact us to express your interest. Especially, we are UK-based university, so we would like to facilitate any interested parties in UK, for example, SMEs with expertise in 5G or artificial intelligence, machine learning technologies, either service providers or end users. And also UK 5G telecom or service providers, industries. In addition, we are also interested to have Spanish partners to be in the consortium. But as I said, it's being discussed, so the door is widely open, and we welcome any contact. For the contact information, it's a joint proposal between Professor Jose and myself, so we are both available to answer your emails, your calls, and the website links are there. So please feel free to have a look of our work and make contact if you are interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a very interesting presentation. Are there questions from the audience? Maybe from the verticals, as from Airbus, maybe? No? Okay. Maybe the questions might come later.
Okay, no
So, yeah, it's quite detailed explanation of 5G and what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So then we will come to a presentation from BT, UK. Exactly. So Mrs. Ana Sol Penarios is unfortunately not present, but we will pitch on behalf of her today. So the presentation is about digital twins for future network management. Do you want? Okay.
Okay, so to keep it more interesting, we will have now 4 pitches that where the people are not here, and we decided to give it. And to keep it more interesting, we are changing the presenter from Christiane to me. So the first one is from BT, Digital Twins for Future of Network Management. And the goal of this pitch is the project aims to investigate on the application of digital twins to support network design, planning, and management, focusing on intelligent simulation, monitoring, and data analysis. The main benefit would be to enhance network management processes and reducing operational cost by optimizing existing resources, doing real-time monitoring simulations. Why should you participate? The research agency estimates that by 2020 there will be more than 20 billion connected sensors and endpoints, which could potentially enable billions of digital twins for the asset optimization, competitive differentiation, and improved customer experience in many industries. I don't think I need to present BT. BT was the incumbent operator in the UK and still is, and is a very big and important operator. So I think this graphic here shows very well what the project is about. So here is the physical part, and then there is some digital mirror that repeats the reality in the digital twin. And of course, such a digital twin can be used in interesting applications. So rather than being a technology in and of itself of a digital twin, it's actually confluent several different technology designed to deliver a specific business outcome. So the digital twin can give important insights when you are not able to have the physical system in front of you. There are use cases. Smart building simulation, management of complex network might benefit from a digital twin representation of the real-world conditions that would affect the performance of the base sites, such as physical environment usage at various location mapping and location of street furnitures. The network assets monitoring digital twin could also be used for effective management and simulation of specialized equipment and mobile cell towers. So the expected outcome and impact would be the creation of an ecosystem to support real-time decision-making, linking IoT sensors and actuators with virtual representation of equipment and processes. The perform technology evaluation as well as testing of the developed solution in pilot use cases in real-world scenarios. Design and development of intelligent tools for quick prototyping scenarios which can be used for network planning and simulation. Dissemination of results and finding to public and scientific forums, providing input for standards and scaling to other service baseline industry. Provide framework to exploit security-related issues. So, sorry. So BT company is obviously one of the partner, and Turkcell company there are talks with Turkcell companies. I don't know, Isil, if you can say that this has progressed. Liverpool, John Moores University, University of Essex, so UK is quite well represented. Smart Network Environment as an SME from UK. Electronics and Telecommunications Research from ETRI from Korea. Mobigen SME from Korea and InstaDept from France. So the consortium is looking for additional partners from Europe with expertise on 3D models on UI interfaces and other things. European partners with experience, in project management and testing. Okay, and the person to connect is Ana Sol Pena Rios BT. Yes, any question on this? Sorry, any question on this? No? Yeah?
Frankly, it's basically the definition of any network management system that it has a digital twin of the network. So I did not yet get completely what should be advanced here in this project.
Well, I don't know much more about this, but I think that the digital twin will be more formalized than you have it elsewhere. Well, maybe you can contact Ana Sol Pena Rios from British Telecom.
Okay, thank you. Then we will have this one. So this is also a pitch that was held on the 5th of February in London. It's about integrated 5G and cloud platforms for industrial cyber-physical systems. The presenter is a professor. Her name is Kristina Sequelanu from Mälardalen University, Sweden. So she would like to have a solution to integrate 5G, cloud services, industrial cyber-physical systems, infrastructure that will promote the next generation of intelligent autonomous systems. She would like to integrate real-time device monitoring and control, increase the quality, efficient production and sustainability of industrial systems. So she focused on fast time to market. The solution should be more flexible in the collaboration and data sharing for European cyber-physical system industries. She would like to contribute to accelerate new growth opportunities to both communication service providers and ICPS providers. I assume ICPS might be industrial cyber-physical systems. They create intelligent, connected cyber-physical system ecosystem and 5G services. So here you can see the organization profile of the university. It's close to Stockholm. It has 14,000 students, about 900 employees, and if I understood her correct, they have close relationships to ABB, Bombardier, and Volvo. But within Volvo, it's more on the industrial side, on the manufacturing side. So here we come to the proposal introduction. Their cyber-physical solution with 5G vision is to provide dependable cloud-based platforms for industrial cyber-physical systems by merging 5G service-based architectures, private and public cloud services, and sensor-based devices. Enable complex partner ecosystems with shared cloud network and commercial systems. And here you can also see the motivation of the proposal. They would like to, they see that there's a need to scale, to manage, to secure and to analyze complex data generated by digital services and content of ICPS. They would like to manage large number of devices that are connected and communicate with each other. She would like to leverage service-based architectures and dynamic network slices to meet specific application requirements for reliability, timeliness, and security. So the content of the proposal is visually shown on this slide. So she would like to have selected use cases and requirements that feed then the 5G enablers for their use cases. And finally, within this proposal, she would like to develop then the solution and the validation of it, and naturally also dissemination and exploitation of the results. What are the expected outcomes of this proposal? The expected outcomes are models, methods, and tools that facilitate a substantial increase of dependability. There will be an efficient decision-making algorithm for dynamic virtual machine placement and scheduling based on 5G network slicing. So I assume this is not yet existing, but maybe the audience can correct me afterwards. There's also a new 5G-enabled cloud services for ICPS as an outcome that should be based on artificial intelligence machine learning algorithms to deliver personalized services, create and evolve services from intelligent device data. And the overall impact should be a substantial boost of dependability of cloud-based ICPS platforms based on 5G. It should increase cross-industry collaboration and data sharing. It should be reliable, secure, 5G-enabled ICPS cloud-based platforms as an impact. So the planned schedule of this proposal is that they would like to submit to the autumn call, and they would like to start in June 2020, and the end of the project, maybe there is a slide. We just switched the slide. So the current partners are coming from Sweden. This is the proposers company. It's Mälardalen University, ABB, Ericsson, Volvo Group Trucks Operation. Then there is international academic partners with expertise in real-time systems, artificial intelligence, machine learning, fog, cloud computing. Everything is going closer to the edge cloud and fog cloud. It's interesting. Then there's network traffic management required, heterogeneous network architectures, verification and validation with formal methods and testing. So these are the contact details of Mrs. Christina Secelianu. If this proposal is of interest to you, please contact her. Maybe there's still space to contribute to this proposal. I might not be able to answer all your questions, but I could forward. Is there a question or interest? Okay. So maybe then we come to the next. Presentation of intelligent edge. It's as you like. There we have the edge cloud. Experts from Helsinki proposing it. It is RK. Yeah. So this proposal is, do you want to hold it? Or shall I? It's up. Okay, I can also try. So this proposal is from RKH Jula from University of Oulu. Yep.
Okay, Intelligent Edge of Things from University of Oulu. Okay, so they are talking about three-tier edge, and so three-tier edge seems to be the low computable capacity at the very edge for local sensors. Then the mobile edge, which has also a lower computing capacity, but it's closer to the user, so it's faster, and then the data center. So that's what they are calling the three-tier edge IoT architecture. So how AI machine learning can be used in finding optimal placement of services and resources in the correct architectural tier, optimizing the resource utilization management in the edge infrastructure to achieve improved cost, resource efficiency, higher quality of experience, and higher level of security and privacy. Well, University of Oulu is an important university in Finland. I don't want to go more into detail here. Introduction, some of today's most relevant technology trends are artificial intelligence, virtualization, and edge computing. So all these points they want to integrate. And here on this very complicated slides, I have selected here on the very left how to limit the propagation of sensitive data. This is certainly interesting to keep the sensitive data where they are and not make them transition to the whole network in order to prevent that somebody who should not have access to could get to this interesting data. So we have here again this three level where you are closer to the edge, where you are slow, and where you are in the cloud, where you are faster. So yes. So what is the benefit of this approach of AI-assisted edge computing? Is that subscribers have faster and low latency content delivery and increased privacy of interactivity and reliability. There should be third-party developers which will benefit from cost-effective development of application and advanced data analytic capability for research utilizations, and network system edge platform operation will benefit from optimized utilization and intelligent management and maintenance of their resources. Overall business value based on reduction in operational cost and improved quality of experience. Potential partners, so they are looking for collaboration in the scope of the proposal for initiating new project proposal. And the potential partners they want is cloud infrastructure provider, big data analysis providers, edge and fog infrastructure providers, telecom infrastructure providers and operators, IoT device manufacturer, potential customers, organization of application areas such as industry, office and home automatization, surveillance, e-health, small traffic, well, lots of things. Research partners focusing on edge and AI and machine learning, security, distributed system. So I think there is a lot of overlap with other pitches that have been shown. So yeah, maybe this pitch can be brought together with some others' ideas and then make a very interesting proposal, I hope. Are there any questions on this? I said I might probably not.
Submit in the autumn call. So please don't hesitate to join them. So maybe we are already over the time. Maybe we switch back to basic information. So, as I stated in the beginning, We usually have follow-up telcos that are announced during the pitching session. This time we will announce the follow-up telcos via our website directly. So at the latest Friday, Monday, they should be available. If you are interested to join a follow-up telco of these pitch sessions, please don't hesitate to call in. I would in addition recommend, if you would like to get informed about additional pitching ideas, we have several proposals days in a year. You can follow our news subscription, so please subscribe via the below link, so you can get informed via email about further events and proposals days. So thank you for participating today, and if there are any questions, please approach us. Thank you.